If you wanted to design the perfect system for corrupting good people, what would it look like? Would it require obvious evil? Would it demand dramatic moral choices? No, you'd create something far more insidious. A system that rewards rationalization. A system where talented, ambitious people can rise to the top while genuinely believing they're serving something greater than themselves. A system where conscience becomes a liability. The Devil's Advocate shows us exactly what this system looks like. More disturbingly, it looks a lot like the world we're living in right now. You see, the Devil's Advocate presents three clear stages of moral collapse: the seduction of desire, the rationalization of compromise, and the abandonment of the soul. What's terrifying is how modern society has become the perfect breeding ground for precisely this trajectory. Let me show you what I mean. The film opens with our protagonist, Kevin, a young lawyer with everything to prove. He lives a humble, moral life. He's never lost a case, he has faith, he has principles. But Kevin is also hungry, not just for success, but for validation, for status, for the kind of life he's been told will finally make him complete. You see, this hunger is crucial to understand. It's not greed in the traditional sense. It's the deep human desire to escape ordinariness, to matter, to be someone. The film then introduces him to a powerful mentor who sees Kevin's potential and offers him everything he's been secretly craving: a job at a dominant law firm, a beautiful apartment, wealth, influence, access to things most people only dream about. And here's where the seduction begins. But what makes this seduction so effective? It's not dishonest. The offer is real, the success is real, the money is real. This is the genius of how moral corruption actually works in the world. It doesn't come through obvious deception. It comes through the provision of real, tangible benefits that you genuinely want. The early sections show Kevin experiencing genuine pleasure and accomplishment. He wins cases, he's praised by powerful people, he feels alive in ways he never did before. He's become important. His life has meaning. You see, this is the first stage, when ambition hasn't yet required compromise, when you can have everything and still feel like a good person. But this stage cannot last, not in a system designed to push you further and further. The system doesn't want you at equilibrium, it wants expansion. More, always more. The second stage arrives when Kevin is asked to do something he knows is wrong. He's asked to defend someone he knows is guilty of a terrible crime, and everything in Kevin's moral fiber screams against it. But the mentor is there, with a rationalization so smooth, so intellectually sophisticated that Kevin almost doesn't recognize it as corruption. He hears that everyone deserves a defense, that the legal system requires it, that it's not about guilt or innocence, it's about the system working properly. Justice, he's told, requires him to set aside personal morality for the greater good of the apparatus. And you see, Kevin accepts this rationalization, not because he's stupid, not because he's uniquely evil, but because it makes intellectual sense. Because powerful, successful people are telling him this is how things work. Because refusing would mean losing everything he's worked for. Because the rationalization allows him to be both ambitious and maintain his self-image as a good person. This is the crucial stage. This is where most people make their choice. Not a dramatic choice between good and evil, but a quiet choice to reframe what they're doing in more acceptable terms. The film shows us the consequences of this choice. Kevin succeeds. The guilty walk free. And Kevin has now crossed the line, not dramatically, but irreversibly. He's proven to himself that he can do it, that he can live with it, that the world rewards those who can rationalize anything. Each subsequent compromise becomes easier, each rationalization more sophisticated. Each moral boundary once crossed feels less significant than the one before. Kevin is no longer the idealistic young lawyer, he's becoming something else. You see, this is exactly how institutional corruption works in the real world. It's rarely about dramatic choices. It's about 1,000 small rationalizations, each one seemingly reasonable in isolation, each one building on the previous one, until eventually you look in the mirror and don't recognize the person staring back. The final stage arrives when Kevin is offered the ultimate prize: partnership. He will become one of the most powerful lawyers in the world. Unlimited wealth, unlimited influence, everything he ever wanted. But there's a catch. To accept this partnership, he has to fully commit. He has to surrender the last remaining piece of himself that doubts. He has to become completely, entirely committed to the system. No reservations, no hesitations, no moral qualms. And this is when the film reveals what we've been suspecting all along. The mentor isn't just a successful lawyer. He's something else entirely. He's the physical manifestation of a system designed to seduce people like Kevin into abandoning their souls for power. The revelation is shocking, but also devastatingly logical within the film's narrative, because the system he represents, the one that rewards ruthlessness, that rationalizes any means for desired ends, that converts morality into weakness, is fundamentally inhumane. You see, what the devil's advocate is really saying is that the logic of total ambition, the logic of winning at all costs, the logic that says your personal morality must be sacrificed for success in status, that logic is fundamentally inhumane. It requires you to become something other than human. It requires you to surrender the very things that make you human: conscience, compassion, the ability to say no. Kevin, in the final moments, is given the choice. Accept the ultimate prize and become part of the system completely, or reject it and lose everything. And Kevin chooses to reject it. He chooses his humanity over his ambition. He walks away. But here's what's terrifying about this ending. In the real world, most people don't get this dramatic moment of clarity. Most people don't get to consciously reject the system they've been climbing. Instead, they make 1,000 small choices, each one seemingly reasonable in isolation, each one building on the previous one, until eventually you look in the mirror and don't recognize the person staring back. This is a warning about something accelerating in contemporary society: the normalization of moral compromise at every level of institutional power. Look at corporate leadership, look at politics, look at academia, look at media. You see a class of people who have rationalized away moral concerns in pursuit of power, status, and success. And the system rewards them for it. The system is designed to select for people who can compartmentalize their conscience. The terrifying insight is that the system doesn't require evil people to function. It requires good people who are willing to make small compromises. Good people who can rationalize. Good people who can tell themselves that the system requires their moral flexibility. That's more dangerous than obvious evil, because obvious evil can be recognized and resisted, but subtle corruption wrapped in intellectual sophistication goes undetected until it's too late. We're living in a world where people at the highest levels have become experts at rationalization, at explaining why their ruthlessness serves a greater good, at convincing themselves and others that morality is a luxury they can't afford. This path leads somewhere. It leads to the abandonment of the soul. It leads to systems that function without conscience. It leads to a world where power and morality have become completely divorced from one another. Conclusion. The film ends with a glimmer of hope. Kevin chooses differently. He chooses to be human over being powerful. But the film doesn't pretend this is easy or common. It suggests that most people won't make Kevin's choice. Most will continue down the path of rationalization until they become the very system they once opposed. The devil's advocate tried to warn us. It shows exactly how moral collapse happens, not through dramatic villainy, but through 1,000 small compromises made by essentially good people in systems designed to reward ruthlessness. The question is, are we listening? Are we paying attention to the small rationalizations we're making? Are we noticing how our principles gradually shift to accommodate our ambitions? Or are we, like most people, simply sliding further into the system? Because if the film is right, then the real danger isn't the obviously evil among us. It's the good people who've learned to rationalize anything. And we need to ask ourselves, which category do we belong to?